Warning: this program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. With your host, Berserker, this is Unshackled Fury.
Summer vacation is at its end, and the fury is nigh, as we hurtle headlong into the final stretch of this great chapter of our beloved game. So welcome back to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions, Unshackled Fury. I'm your host, Berserker. This is episode 131, and on today's show, giving a final rundown of patch 10.1.7 Fury Incarnate. God, it's still a mouthful. Talking Chris Metzen, BlizzCon, the next expansion, and getting hardcore. But first, I did put a little note out on the Twitter sphere that I was delaying this episode by a week. And that was because I had to help say goodbye to a good friend of mine's father who tragically passed away a few months ago. And I said it was a funeral. It wasn't really a funeral. It was a celebration of life. And, it's one of those moments where, depending on your relationships with people, right, you feel the need to either be somewhere or not. In this particular instance, this was one I had to be at. This friend of mine, his father had a sort of made a foundational impression upon me, where anybody who knows me, knows my personal history, knows that my relationship with my parents, tricky at best, a biological father who abandoned me, and a stepfather who, while we get along famously now, fought like cats and dogs growing up. And so when I first met this friend and he had this amazing relationship with his father, it really informed a lot of decisions that I wanted to make when I became a dad. And so given the time and space, I wanted to say something about that and share that with his family, because I don't think I've really ever shared that with the family. Shared a little bit with my friend, and it's just a good reminder that you never know where people in your lives will come from, important people. It'll leave these impressions on you, good, bad, somewhere in between. But especially the good ones, when you get a chance, you should honor them. I don't know, when all is said and done, what'll be said about me. I think every person kind of thinks about that at one time or another. What do people say about me when I'm gone? And I hope that when that day comes, it comes for us all, when that day comes, that hopefully, if I've left a good impression on anyone or been of any help, that, somebody will say something. You don't even have to say it to me. You can say it after the fact. I will never know. But when it comes to those moments in your life, I think that that's really important to be able to do. And this sort of dovetails into another farewell that I wanted to touch on, which is the end of one of the greatest podcasts that the Warcraft landscape has ever had, Dungeon Fables. And I don't say this, and I'm pretty sure Allie will hear this later, but I don't say it because over time, right, Allie and I have become friends through Warcraft and through our D&D gaming. But this was a podcast. 173 episodes, right? It ended with episode 173, Antorus the Burning Throne, part 4. Began all the way back in June of 2018. Every single one of these episodes was a thoughtfully crafted love letter to a very specific piece of the world that we inhabit online. And it took, you could tell, it took a lot of time, effort, energy, dedication to put something like that together. I think it's honestly far easier to come on and do a show like mine where, yeah, I think it would be easier with a co-host. Coming on here and yakking by myself is not always the greatest. I hope it's at least not too bad for you, the listener. But it's easier to come on here, talk about the news, what's going on, give some bullshit opinions or whatever. But to really dive in, to go into great detail about the history and the whys and the whos of a place that maybe you haven't thought about in a while, that maybe hasn't been all that relevant in a while. To go in and do that, that takes a lot of time and energy and effort. And Allie, the host, who has also been on, All Things Azeroth, is currently on Live, Laugh, Lore with our buddy Jin. So still out there, right? Still out there. And you can hear her on that fine program. But she really gave it more effort than I think almost anybody puts into a Warcraft podcast. And there are others that are more successful, but not many. I think Allie did a much better job in a shorter window with her show than I've ever done with this one. And that's a credit to her as an individual. She is quite honestly, cover your ears, Allie. She is quite honestly one of the best people that I've met. Not just in Warcraft, but just like in general. Like as a human being, a really great person. And that has always come through in this kind of work. And so to lose a piece of that voice in our sphere here, I mean, there is a sense of sadness, right? That you have somebody who puts that kind of love and energy and good vibes in, and there is an avenue for that no longer exists. But let me tell you, to do what she did, that takes a lot out of you. It has to, because I know what it takes to even do just this freaking thing we're doing right here. So to get to 173 episodes, to get all the way through Legion, that's impressive. And if you haven't listened to Dungeon Fables, or you've only listened to, some part of it here or there, you really owe it to yourself to go back and listen through the history of all of these places, all of these dungeons, all of these places that we've been in game, which are rich in lore, story. And Allie did such an amazing job bringing that to life. So while we wish a fond farewell to Dungeon Fables, you still get a chance, like I said, to hear her great insights along with Jin's over on Live, Laugh, Lore. So I just want to say thank you to Allie for putting that out there, for doing that yeoman's work, really, and creating such a great avenue for people to learn about this game. And thankfully, there's more to tell, and there's more to come. But so long, the Dungeon Fables. Can't say we hardly knew you. We knew you well. And you definitely deserve an honored place amongst the pantheon of Warcraft podcast greats. Last up, before we get into this week's raid session, Metal Album of the Week continues on. I can't believe I actually remember to keep doing this. This week, this one might be a little divisive, because depending on your flavor of metal, rock, hard rock, whatever, that you like, you may find this one a little interesting, a little strange. Maybe not. 10,000 Fists by the band Disturbed. Been around 20 30. I mean, technically, I think they've been around like 25 years, but really it's when The Sickness came out. I think that was like the late 90s, right? 99, 2000, somewhere in there. And that thing hit and it was everywhere. And admittedly, 2000 to 2010, like that decade, there was a lot of butt rock that was terrible. The metal scene was, oof, it was hurting. And this band, you know, you could go in a couple different directions, but I really like this album. It was released back on September 20th, 2005. Title track, 10,000 Fists, the song Stricken, and a great cover of I think it was Genesis. I don't know if it was just Phil Collins by himself, but Land of Confusion, which honestly is a great anti-war song. You think back 2004, the United States, we'd invaded Iraq just a couple years prior to that. In 2003, we'd been in Afghanistan. Like it was thick during that time. The Bush administration, there was a lot of that conversation in the air, and so that was a very timely cover to do. This album was dedicated to Dimebag Darrell of Pantera, who was tragically killed just the year prior, I believe, or within a year of that album being released. And the art was done by the great comic artist Greg Capullo, who did inarguably, I should say, one of the best Batman runs ever. This guy, his eye and his skill is incredible. And so you'll see the what is it? The Guy. It's just The Guy. That's the mascot for Disturbed. It's just The Guy. But that is the album for this week. Some of the songs, I'll be honest, you know, you could probably give or take a couple, but overall, great album. And yeah, that is the metal album of the week. Now, on to our rage segment, and I don't know. I guess they call this one punching up. Let's go.
Let's rage.
So, you want to get blacklisted? Well, let's get blacklisted. Oh, so I know I complain about Wowhead mostly when it comes to data mining and my general displeasure with how many things get spoiled ahead of time, kind of the way that those spoilers have been handled. Some fine, some not so fine. But the problem that I see more and more is Wowhead is no longer Wowhead. Let me just go through their Twitter posts. Let's just go post by post and see what each one is about. Diablo. Oh, there we go, Warcraft. A game called Last Epoch. Not even a Blizzard game. Diablo. 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 Warcraft. Diablo. 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 Warcraft. More Warcraft. A third Warcraft. Oh my god. A fourth. Oh my god. Diablo. Warcraft. Diablo. Warcraft. Diablo. Diablo. Warcraft. You see what I'm getting at? A while back, I talked about the AI website that was the center of much derision for pumping out clickbait. I hate to say it, but the #1 community fan site, whatever they call themselves, is really turning into a bit of a mess. I've had to filter out so many things on their website. I admittedly pay for a subscription just so I can clean up their screen. It's bad enough that Warcraft themselves, World of Warcraft, Blizzard, in their articles, official articles, link to Wowhead as their database. right? That's bad enough. But the way in which it has become this sad, clickbaity dump, it's just depressing. I don't know if this is the Gothic Sprite over there. I don't know if this is corporate overlords. I'm not really sure who's responsible. But I've had to filter out a lot. I don't really pay as much attention as I used to. And it's unfortunate because it is by far and away the #1 website. When I talked to Jez Corden, remember Jez Corden from Windows Central? Had on here a couple times. When he and I had talked, even privately, and I don't think he minds me sharing this, he was talking about how the numbers for Wowhead, like the readership, the clicks, it just dwarfs anything that anybody else does. And so when you see, even remember back when we had the interview with, I was part of the group interview with Ian Hazzikostas, right? And we're hoping that somebody would pick it up, right? Wowhead. Well, it's because Wowhead's #1. It's the biggest by far. They slap something out there, boom, everybody sees it. And so to see it just filled with clickbaity, not Warcraft stuff, just don't call it Wowhead anymore. Just call it Gamehead. Like, that's fine. But trying to pretend that this is still what we are, no, I don't think so. And there was a time way back when, and I get it, I maybe talked a little trash about Convert to Raid when they stopped covering Warcraft and became more Blizzard, and then there was the instance, and the instance stopped or whatever that was with them, and then you had Warcraft Radio here on our side, then they smartened up and bonus roll. They can cover anything, right? There's no allegiance to any one particular franchise, although there's still a lot of Warcraft here. I don't know if it takes a lot of time and effort because I'm sure there's some legal things with Wowhead, but too many non-Warcraft things. Just too damn many. And a lot of it is just waste your time clickbait shit. So every once in a while I see them get up on their high horse. Just remember what's become of them. And yeah, this probably means I'm not going to get invited to any more parties, and I'm never going to be on there anyway. And maybe this is part of being back at the Am Still Light table, because the heady days of the Crystal table are over. I'll just sit in the back with my warm 50-cent Amstel Light beer and, throw some paper wads up at the front. But it's just unfortunate. And, maybe that's part of the corporate culture. Maybe Wowhead can wrest some of that control back. But it is unfortunate. But, hopefully someone with a clearer mind will take over and save Wowhead from itself. All right. With that said, we got the final bit of news running into 10.1.7. Let's get into it. So these are the end of the quiet times, I think. End of summer vacation. It's possible that as this podcast drops on Monday, the 28th of August, that patch 10.2 info might be coming out, something else, but it's imminent. It's coming. With the next, 3/4 patch? Not full patch. What are they calling these? Semi-full patch? It's a semi. Whatever it is. We're on the cusp. And with BlizzCon, gosh, a scant couple months away, we're about to hit the highway at full speed. But this is the last. This is the last of the little downtime that we have, and let's talk about what is coming September 5th with Fury Incarnate. Going to be focusing on everyone's favorite fiery Incarnate himself, Varrock. Great design, great character. See what happens to him, because as far as the storyline goes, so we're jumping in. You know, it's not going to be the full kind of epic, whoa, giant, huge, full patch thing that we're going to be doing, but they're trying to add some consequential things in here. We don't really know what it is. We have some hints, we have some clues, but Blizzard is doing a really good job now, I think, of trying to hide more elements from the data miners. They know that this is an issue. They, I think, can control it to a certain extent. It does mean that things don't get tested on the PTR. That has its pluses and minuses. We know that there's going to be something about the reforging of tier. You know, Farak is going to be going after the New World Tree. We know that they're somehow leading us into 10.2 and the Emerald Dream and something. But as of right now, really don't know what entirely that looks like. What we do know is that we will have dream surges going on. And so looking at the sort of official post that we have, this is going to be the new public event where every week, so every week, it's every week, not every day or every couple of days, it's every week, one of the 4 original zones, they're calling them, in the Dragon Isles, the Waking Shores, Onaran Plains, Eldrassus, and the Azure Span, those will be affected by what they're calling a Dream Surge. And every 30 minutes, a portal will open up, calling it a major Waking Dream portal, will open up in the affected zone, and that is the group event that is going on. And while that event is going on, get your alts, because there will be a 25% XP boost to players leveling in the area where this Dream Surge is going on. So while that's going on, you're gonna be able to vote on a buff. I'm very curious to see how this works out. You're gonna seek out Hamul Rune Totem in Valdrakken. You're looking for the Surging Dreams quest. You can also go just to whatever zone is affected by the Dream Surge. You'll see it. There's a specific icon on your map. And you're going to be working to defeat the Druids of Flame. Remember them? Talked about them last time. They got that great fiery aesthetic going on. Destroying their altars, and you'll be dragon riding through their reinforcements circling above. So that sounds kind of interesting. And then you'll fight one of their lieutenants. You'll get a new, well, there's a couple of new, what do they call them? You know, currencies, things you turn in. I don't know. Another currency, my God. How many could we possibly have? And you'll be able to trade them in for different things, these currencies that you get. Every 30 minutes while this event is active, a new buff will be selected for that region. And if you are participating in it, you'll be able to vote. A window will pop up and you'll have 2 buffs. And they're saying that they'll have various useful, powerful, or chaotic buffs. So chaotic. Gotta be chaotic. Every time. And you'll be able to, like I said, turn in the currencies that you get for, there's like a renewed Mag Mammoth mount. The Mag Mammoth mount is pretty sweet. There's a pet cheddar. Cheddar, the it's like a crab looking thing. Terrifying. Whatever it is. But this is the new catch-up mechanic. Right, you can get gear. They'll be dropping, looks like the Flame Lieutenants will be dropping a Whelpling Shadowflame crest and a 402 item token. There'll be some rare elites popping up. They're calling it Dream Surge catch-up gear. Completing the weekly Dream Surge quest and obtaining the Dream Surge Chrysalis allows you to purchase item level 415 champion, 1 of 8, upgradable to 437 gear from Arch Druid Hamul Rune Totem. I can't say that right. So that's going to be the guy. So that's really what these events are going to be. Again, leveling, alts. Somebody who doesn't really play alts, this doesn't do a whole lot for me. Seeing some of the lore, what's going on with that, cool. Let's see it. But it does feel like they're going to the well maybe one too many times on the sort of same kind of public event that we've been doing for a while. There's some portal and we got to go to a place and then we defeat a thing and then we wait and then we do another portal and there's a thing and a place and we get some catch-up gear, and it is a little rinse and repeat. Again, I would be very curious to see what the engagement numbers are. They have to have them. They know all this stuff. But I think it is getting a little old doing things this way. Maybe the buffs will, the vote buffs, maybe that'll help keep things a little more interesting. Two of the examples I see here, one is Dream Surge Wrath Bloom, increases nature damage done by 100%. And there's Dream Surge Defenders, periodically attract a Dream Surge Defender who will absorb one attack directed at you before returning to the dream. There you go. That's the kind of thing you'll vote on. I don't do nature damage, so clearly I'm voting for the other one. If you have alts, looks like a great way to catch up, level, get some gear if that's your jam. Otherwise, I don't know how much of this I'm going to be doing. But adding a whole chunk of something, activity like this, pretty good for a not full patch. Something new, something different. Trying, maybe a little piece of something that's new. Why not? Worth a shot. Otherwise, customization. Talked a lot about customization. Forsaken Heritage Armor. Night Elf Heritage Armor. Draenei Minari customization. All right, these are still, I think, outside of whatever storyline we haven't seen, I think that these are really the tent poles of this patch. And if nothing else, just because of the lore implications. Talked about before, we'll start with the Forsaken, right? Has the sort of banner guard from the BFA cinematic, right? Where the fight happens out in front of Orgrimmar. It has that kind of vibe, got the coffin backpack. Forsaken, you have some more skin color variations. Still no upright version, as far as I'm aware. But we do have at least some information about the storyline itself. They haven't given us very much, but Cohen a Wowhead and the data mining and some others, I suppose. They do have a list of quests, and in there, one of them is the Flight of the Banshee and Death to the Living. I'm not saying I don't understand if Sylvanas is back. I get it. I get it why you would see her, or a vision of her, or travel back in time and see her, or save the future. I don't know. I can see it, but oh man. No hint of Anduin. Killing me. It's killing me. He's coming. He'll be all over the next expansion, I'm telling you. But 15 quests, it looks like, encompasses that, including those two named, the Flight of the Banshee, Death of the Living, and a few others. I'll leave the rest to your imagination and when you get to do them yourself, if you are so inclined. But one of the big tent poles of this next patch, the other, right, the Night Elf Heritage Armor, that one that screams original Night Elf in the World of Warcraft opening cinematic, right? Very reminiscent of that. Again, now we have some quest details, at least the quest names. There are fewer quests than the Forsaken Heritage Armor storyline, it would appear. Once again, proving favoritism. know who the favorites are. But some of these include names of quests like Warden's Wrath. Who could that be? Mercy or Misery? A Glimpse of Terror? Some interesting ones to be had there. A couple of tints will be coming with that one, right? And we know that 10.2 will be Emerald Dream focused, so maybe there's some tie-in there, right? Taking us to that next step up. There'll be some new face and body tattoo options that I mentioned before and that we've seen. Really love what they're adding. And then there were the Druids of Flame. You know, we're going to be fighting them. Don't know if there's going to be necessarily an armor set that we'll be able to wear ourselves, but God, it's such a great model. They're fantastic. In addition, right? You always saw those big red Eridar, those badass devilish looking Draenei. Well, now you can be one. Now you can be one, and we'll see what does that quest line look like? Velen, what's Velen doing? Argus, why are we there? Are these Eridar who cleansed, saw the error of their ways? I don't know. But it looks pretty fucking cool. Certainly an option that would have been perfect back in the Legion days. Guess I can understand why you'd want a little bit of time between here and there to let that play out. Maybe people wouldn't be, in lore, right? Maybe they wouldn't be so accepting of this group. But it's a nice option to have. The Draenei have really been a great addition to the game, just aesthetic wise, ever since I saw that first Burning Crusade intro. And I think that was Vindicator Murad. Yeah, just flipping through the book, doing the paladin shit. You're like, whoa, that's how that works. Pretty cool. So to have them have another option, fantastic. Along with these fine tentpoles of this patch, we're also going to get something that we don't know about, even still, the Secrets of Azeroth. This is a new thing that's coming. There was an official post about this, Unravel the Secrets of Azeroth, and there really isn't much known about it. Here is all that it says. Beginning on August 31st, so that's this week, players will be tasked with putting on their thinking caps to uncover who is behind a recent string of artifact thefts through a variety of daily clues, with the last clue revealing itself on September 13th, so a couple weeks. You'll need to keep your eyes peeled for daily secrets and tantalizing new rumors, and even play a little follow the leader with some of your favorite community creators to discover some of the secrets Azeroth has to offer. Not really sure what that follow the leader with some of your favorite community creators entails. Sounds like somebody's been keeping some secrets to themselves for sure. I definitely will have comments about that after the fact. But whatever these things are, whatever they could be, there are rewards that they've posted, including a tricked out thinking cap toy, which looks like a phenomenal gnomish engineering. It's got goggles and it's a very steampunk looking helmet with dials and gauges and lights and gears, and it's definitely somebody's aesthetic. A Torch of Pyreth toy. I don't know. It's a torch. A Titan key. Weapon transmog. I didn't play Kingdom Hearts, but I don't know. Looks like it belongs there or something. But then the real deal probably is the Deerstalker hat head transmog. Tobias, looks like a not quite a retriever, but maybe like a Labrador retriever with a deerstalker hat itself, and Patty the alpaca mount. That's probably the biggest get overall. But when I look at this is all that they've said. I don't really know what any of this means. This should have been a good place for archaeology. Remember that? No, you don't. You remember archaeology? Nobody remembers archaeology. Archaeology hasn't been a thing probably since my son's been alive. God, I remember doing that and digging up and looking for clues and stuff. This would be perfect for archaeology. Does it play a role? I don't know. Should it? Yeah. Another profession that or activity just falls by the wayside. Along with our dance studio. You can dance your ass all the way to archaeology. That's about as good as we're going to get. But that is something that's coming up. It starts this week. No idea what it is. I'm very curious what it is. But they did make sure to say that even after this time period, it's not going to go away. It says, while the last clue will make its way into Azeroth on September 13th, you won't be left out if you don't get to play along each day. Every clue and reward will remain available to be found long after the dust settles. This event isn't planned as a regularly occurring holiday. However, we've heard a rumor there could be more secrets in Azeroth's future. You just never know. Sounds like a few they got planned. Maybe some other giveaways. Other items that didn't make the trading post. I don't know. Probably going to depend on how successful this trial run is, since, again, they're keeping secrets to themselves and we don't know what this looks like. But could be fun. So August 31st, keep your eyes out for Secrets of Azeroth. Along with that, coming this week, we got the ping system. Talked about this new ping system that we're going to see how useful it is in practicality when people actually get their hands on it out in the world. I think it has the possibility to be revolutionary. Accessibility. Really, I think this takes that next leap in terms of making the game more accessible. Anybody can use it. The raid utility, being able to, on the fly, I think, place these different kinds of markers that are a little more specific than just, shapes in like a skull or an X or a blue square. Like, this is, let's attack this shit or stay away from this shit, or, here's a safe space, or go here, whatever. They've added more recently a tutorial, it looks like, and some unique sounds. So I know a lot of people don't play with sounds turned on in the game. I really discourage that, because there's a lot of great stuff to hear in this game. But they've added those things to, again, increase the usability of this. I saw in the time between the last episode of the show and this one now, there was a little bit of a kerfuffle about overlays, which harkened back to something I talked about in the last episode, where back in the Wrath era, we had the ability to, for a brief period of time, draw on the space that we were all looking at together, and that was a pretty big help. And I know it wasn't exactly that. There were other overlays going on that were helping people, and it sounds like Blizzard pretty quickly killed the ability to do that, which you knew they were going to do. The ping system, kind of adding that extra flavor in, being able to help direct things on the fly, and just a little bit more specifically, and without even having to speak. I think if you see a sword icon, you know what's up, right? Or if you see like, oh, don't go there, you pretty quickly figure that out. As opposed to, it's a moon. Okay, what the fuck does that mean? That could mean all kinds of things. So, really curious to see how this plays out in the world. I don't know if my own raid leader is going to use it, but I'm gonna look to him to see how usable this is or not. But let me know. You use it yourself. I'd love to hear what you have to say about the ping system. Otherwise, The rest of the patch, still more customization, right? There's dragon riding customization related to Pirates Day, Hallows End, Brewfest, Day of the Dead. All of those look stupendous. There is going to be, apparently, refreshes to Brewfest and Hallows End, including a hard mode version of the Headless Horseman encounter. It appears there's going to be some kind of way to either get buffs or make it harder, and there are achievements related to that. And quite honestly, I think that's fine. It's been the same fight for years and years, and yeah, you run in and it might be a little difficult depending on your level, but if you're any kind of geared, raid level geared, mythic plus gear, I mean, you just go in there and it's laughable. It's just laughable. And this is one of the all-time classic World of Warcraft bosses. We're getting into that time of year. It's my favorite time of year. I can't explain it at all, but I don't know about you people out there, but I get like seasonal, like a feeling, and it's not for everything, but for fall, which is my favorite part of the year, there's definitely like a fall feeling, and it's not necessarily like a smell. You know, I'm not smelling, you know, pumpkin spice lattes and shit and going, oh, it's the fall. No, I haven't smelled one yet. There is just a very specific feeling in my body that I can't explain. Maybe there's a great German word for it, but it's a fall feeling. And part of that is Warcraft in the fall, Headless Horseman, you know, Brewfest and Hallows End. It's just all in that period of time, and that is my favorite time of year. Look forward to it, especially when it's 105 outside, and I look at my energy bill, and my eyes roll back in my head, and I fall over, and I'm thinking, oh man, I'm waiting for the fall. Why isn't it fall? The Headless Horseman, hearing that laugh, hearing that speech that he gives, right? That's all part of that. So give him a little update. Make him a little harder. Why the hell not? Let's do it. So that is coming as part of this patch. There will also be the Eastern Kingdoms Cup for dragon riding. The Kalimdor Cup so far, pretty fun. Loved the tracks that I've done so far. It's everything you pretty much hope for, I think, when it comes to where you're going and what you're doing. Challenging, but so much fun to be able to fly like that in the old world. I cannot wait for the Eastern Kingdoms. You know, October again. Yes, it's the fall. It's the best. Really looking forward to those races. And then, of course, last but not least, it'll be the 19th anniversary this year of World of Warcraft, and there will be an event and some items related to that. And it's a good time to honestly just reflect on all of the time that we've spent in World of Warcraft, because it has not been insignificant. Been here a long time. I think about 2007 when I started playing. So I'm not vanilla, classic, whatever you want to call it. Right, I came in BC right after BC launched. It was March of 2007. 16 years. It's a long time, but 19th anniversary coming, some great mounts and pets, and really looking forward to that. But all in all, not bad for a, you know, half patch, 3/4 patch, whatever we're calling this. And really looking forward to September 5th. That'll be a lot of fun to see a lot of the new customizations coming and getting a look at whatever the storyline is going to be. We'll talk about it on the next episode, and everything is to come, and then leading us into 10.2. It's a good time still be a World of Warcraft player. And speaking of Warcraft and its ancillaries, do you remember Warcraft Arclight Rumble? Of course you do. Well, it's no longer Arclight. It's just Warcraft Rumble. Probably for the best, since Arclight is not really an accessible term, I think, for people outside of our universe. Even for myself, who's been around, like I said, for 16 years. Arclight it evokes, a certain image, and that's probably correct. But in terms of accessibility on a wider scale, you say Warcraft Rumble, I think more people are going to show up. Well, Tom Chilton, who is the game director of Warcraft Now Rumble, he gave an interview to GameSpot where they talked about a few things and how they are making some changes and updates and continuing to develop the game. But the official post that came up about Warcraft Rumble made sure to let you know that you can still register for what they're calling future soft launches and the official launch. So, they've been in beta for a while. They've been expanding it. Honestly, I tried to get in. I couldn't get in. I know there's some other people that have been in, but I haven't heard one fucking word about it at all until this recent interview and then this post by Blizzard. Very curious to see how this is morphed from the original one, because the original version that we saw, whatever late alpha, early beta, whatever they called that, it looked interesting, but a little basic. So to see how that fills out will be great. But I am betting as this continues on, we're gonna get a BlizzCon announcement, because this is what this timing is shaping up for. You're giving an interview to GameSpot, you got an official post coming. It means we're intentionally, your PR people, whoever, you're intentionally ramping up for something, right? You're leading to something. Gotta be BlizzCon. And speaking of which, big item we got to talk about this week. Chris Metzen, my personal Lord and Savior. We know many months ago, I think it was last year, there's a post came out from John Haidt. I think he's a game director, head honcho, big wig, World of Warcraft. Put out a post saying Chris Metzen was back. He's back, and he was working with the Warcraft franchise, and everybody was really excited, and I lost my shit, right? Very excited. And since that time, haven't really seen him much, hasn't been doing much. He's not that active on social media. But we had a tweet several weeks ago from Mike Ibarra, who is the big head honcho of Blizzard. And he was talking about, they went to the Taylor Swift concert, but he said, soon, Chris Metzen, myself, and some Blizzard folks will see Metallica, and I can't wait. That concert actually just happened, I think, a couple nights ago. And follow that by saying, we have some very exciting Warcraft news that Chris Metzen and the Windstalker, that's Holly Longdale, will show you all at BlizzCon this year. I can't wait, and I'm more excited about WoW's future than ever before. So I know at the time when I saw that, the very first thing that I thought of was, well, if you're going to have Chris Metzen showing me something at BlizzCon, and you're excited about WoW's future, that can only be one thing. And I'll be honest with all of you. Seeing a Chris Metzen announced Warcraft expansion live in person in front of my own face at the convention, at BlizzCon, it's right about the top of the mountain for experiences for me, especially if I'm with the homie Rommel. Right? That is about as top of the mountain as we can get, because there's only been so many. And Chris Metzen's been gone for 6 years, right? So to see that live, man, it's like I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to think about it, because it's almost too much. Like, it's too great. It's too great a thing. Like, I can't believe that that's a real, that possibility is a real thing. But listen, when you saw his name and you're like, hey, he's back with Blizzard, can't help but think that. So on top of that, I was already going to talk about that tweet from Mike Ibarra, sort of my feelings and excitement about Chris Metzen possibly doing a expansion announcement at BlizzCon. Well, Taliesin of Taliesin and Evitel fame over there on the YouTubes and everywhere else in our community. Taliesin, and I use this term somewhat tongue-in-cheek. It was a bit of a humble brag, but put out a video, I think it was their weekly, just this past week, talking about his connections, their connections, people that they've met in the community, which is, no hate on them. And when you're that big and you've done the things that they've done within the community for Blizzard, right, officially, you're going to meet people, you're going to get to know people. That's all fine and well. But he opened up a little bit about their connections, who they know, and the people that they know, talking about Chris Metzen and what his current relationship is really with World of Warcraft in his new current position. And what these people, and in turn Taliesin, seem to make very clear is that Chris Metzen is heavily involved with whatever the next expansion is. So far as to say the next expansion will be, I can't believe I'm saying this, if this is true, a Chris Metzen expansion. And here I am, a fucking middle-aged dude, and I'm feeling a swell of emotion that's probably not right for what this is, but it makes me feel a lot of feelings because it goes to a very deep place that is very good and very pure. In a place I still care very much about. It's nice to know, so it seems, that he's not just there as, whatever. Like, oh, hey, Chris. Oh, hey, guys. Like, it sounds like there was real input, that the work that he's doing is more robust than just some dude waving from a distance. And I know that his record, right, when the Afraziabi thing happened, wasn't exactly the best. It wasn't. And I don't know Taliesin, and I don't know who they talk to over there. But if they're to be believed, every person has said nothing but great things about Chris Metzen. And I want to believe that that's true. As somebody who really trusts his gut, when I meet people, within the first few seconds, I get a really strong sense of who that person is. And it's been right pretty much 99.9% of the time in my life. Having just been in his vicinity, had a 3-second conversation with him, I felt like he was a good dude. And I know that that's a stretch. And I know that some of you listening go, what the fuck is he talking about? I can't explain it. My mom has this gift. I have this gift. I don't have many gifts, but I do have that one. And I hope that that's true, and I hope that that continues. And this is also his opportunity to make up for that deficiency when things were going bad, when he was around, and he could have done more and he didn't, right? To be in a leadership position now and to do the things that we need him to do, right? To have that opportunity now and to hear that sounds like that's the case, that things are going well. That's fantastic. For us, the players, certainly, for whatever's coming down the pike, but also for the people that build the fucking game, the people that actually have to put in the hard work to create this place for us, right? You want them to be happy and healthy and supported. So, all that being said, it sounds like, with the Newser and that team taking over, Dragonflight is crushing it, right? So to get that and then that Metzen magic, right, on top of that, holy fuck. The hype train has left the station. And, it's shot out like a fucking cannon. And probably set myself up a little bit too much, but I'm telling you now, because I just know myself. If there was a Chris Metzen expansion announcement at BlizzCon and I get to see it, I will cry. I won't be able to contain myself. It's just there will be too many emotions happening. especially if it's Anduin based. Oh God. Some cinematic with Anduin coming out. Oh God, I'm gonna be a fucking mess. I don't do reaction videos because I think they're cheesy as fuck. But you know what? God, I might do one for that and just embarrass the shit out of myself. But you know what? Y'all might find it entertaining. I don't know. So looking forward to BlizzCon because that could be something. And on that note, we don't know for a fact. Like nobody said BlizzCon, the next expansion will get announced, but you know, all the tongue-in-cheek language is there. And then, oh wowhead, here we go. They have data mined that purchasing the 11.0 expansion, because somebody dropped this in the whatever 10.7 PTR. If you buy the 11.0 expansion, you're going to get some traders tenders, whatever I'm not calling them the other name, but traders tenders. Depending on which version you buy, the base, heroic, or epic editions, right? There'll be different amounts awarded to you. So, I mean, that all but confirms to me. If there was any doubt, right? If you had any doubt that the next Warcraft expansion is being announced at BlizzCon, that pretty much erases it at this point, I think. Because for that to be in the PTR of what's coming, in a week? We're right there, folks. We're right fucking there. We're on the door. It's hard to believe. Dragonflight hasn't even been out a year. But it's been a good, healthy, hard run, like full speed ahead the entire time it's been out. And you know, if they can keep this pace, then yeah, we're right on schedule. So on top of that, for BlizzCon right now, they're starting to data mine some BlizzCon related collectible type things. There's a texture, looks like it could be a banner, maybe, but it says BlizzCon right on it. So now we're gonna start seeing that stuff. Is what I'm saying. Is summertime's ending, folks. We're gonna have to start hitting that last stretch, you know, fast and furious, because it's coming. It's coming. Now these little bits that are gonna start coming out, and just gonna see more and more of them until we get the full picture. So there you go. BlizzCon, the future. It's looking so good, and gotta keep my expectations in check. But that's about where we are, and confirming a lot of things that I think we already think we know. In addition to all of this, now I don't talk about Classic very often, but I have to hand it once again to the Classic community for making it happen, because just this past week, August 24th, Classic Hardcore became a real thing. If you don't know what this is, it's Classic Warcraft, and your character only has one life. So if you die, that is it for your character. There's no res, there's no graveyard, there's no nothing. You're done. Whatever you did on that character, whatever you got, whatever, it's all gone. That's it. It's kaput. PvP, you want to duel to the death, to the literal death of your character? You can. I see where the streamers would love it. I see where the drama comes in. But there's no fucking way I'm doing this. I am too emotionally tied to my characters. Even the alts I don't play, I still love them in my own way. I would have a very hard time leveling something in Classic, which is already a chore, and then having them die to something just stupid, right? There's all the jokes, you know, dumb ways to die. Social media team on Warcraft, they're killing it. You know, running into a herd of Murlocs, you toast. They did a WoWcast where they talked to a couple of the folks on the team, and one of them was talking about that first Kobold mine, boom, dead. Fall off something, dead. Can you imagine? There's going to be all kinds of dumb shit. We're going to have a full decked out character, and somebody, you know, called you on the phone or something happened, and oh, you're dead. Rating, fuck that. There's no way. There's no way. But credit to the Blizzard team and seeing that the classic community had a continued interest in this. This wasn't like some flavor of the week. This was a thing. So they said, let's do this for real. Let's make this happen. And they did. And that is a credit to the community and to Blizzard for finding that, once again, with the classic community, finding that solution to something that you think you want it, but you don't. No, fuck it. They want it and they're getting it. I will not be participating in this in any way. But if that's your jam, you know, you're doing hardcore Diablo and stuff, which I also will not do. You know, if that's your jam, you like that challenge, you want that kind of anxiety in your life, well, welcome to Classic Hardcore WoW. The Classic Hardcore devs behind the scenes stories on the most recent episode of WoWcast is out there. It's about 25 minutes. Pretty good look inside, getting to chat with a couple folks. So if this is your jam, highly encourage you to check it out. So good luck out there. Have fun. Don't die. One of the other items I wanted to bring up, because it is a limited time option, because we've had a couple of these. And something that, again, I just love that they're doing this. If you have an Amazon Prime gaming account linked to your Battle.net account, you can receive the Tabard of Brilliance from August 24th to September 28th. You can receive the Tabard of Brilliance. You go on and, you know, you click on, you know, the tab there that says, you know, get your loot in game or whatever it is, and it'll be in your inventory. All right, you'll go get it. The funny thing about this tabard, it's an old tabard. It's an old tabard. Like 12 years ago, more than a decade ago, in a trading card game. Because there were several of these. I think there were like 3 or 4 tabards that you could only get through the trading card game. This one's kind of cool. It's got like fire and a big skull in the middle. You know, it's old, right? The texture is not like some super finely detailed thing. Like, it's definitely old. This card was recently going for $450. So if you wanted it, you had to pay for it until now. And I gotta say, I feel bad for the people who buy this stuff, but I don't feel bad for the people that are trying to gouge the shit out of folks for stuff like this. I really don't. And it's pretty hilarious that they're going way back into the archives to pull shit like this out. You know, they've done it with mounts. They're doing it with tabards. Oh, imagine what they're going to do next. You know, honestly, the most coveted thing I think I have is the Time Lost Proto Drake. And I could understand if suddenly everybody got a Time Lost Proto Drake. But I've also had that thing for like 12 years myself. And it's a cool mount. I love it. I love to be able to show it off. And there are people who are like, oh shit, this is Time Lost Proto Drake. You don't see too many of those. If they suddenly gave it away, would I be a little irked? Maybe. But I'd get over it. You know, so I don't feel bad. I don't feel too bad for these freaking people trying to hawk these cards. So if you haven't gotten it yet, you can take a look out there. Prime Gaming Loot, your Tabard of Brilliance, and you have until September 28th to grab that sucker. In addition to that, just wanted to give one last shout out to the Ukraine pack that's going on until October 29th. So you only have one more day after this comes out to get the Golden Retriever and Murloc pets and help out some folks with that. So that timeline is quickly drawing to a close. And then the last two things I have for you this week. One is, if you haven't seen it yet, there is a phenomenal machinima on YouTube by a creator called Duren, D-U-R-E-N, who created a Neo Stormwind video machinima that is straight up cyberpunk. And it takes elements straight from Cyberpunk 2077. There's even some music that I love that's in it. Blade Runner, other cyberpunk aesthetic references, and it's pretty freaking cool. It's got Garrosh, you know, not the biggest Garrosh fan, but it's cool. He's rolling up to this Neo Stormwind in a chopper, and there's a bunch of stuff going on, and there's, you know, like these hologram statues of Varian. It is really well done. It's super NSFW. Do not show this with your kids. But it's cool as fuck. If you haven't seen it, just go on YouTube, look up Neo Stormwind, and you'll find it. Last but not least, I wanted to give a quick shout out to Little Scales Daycare. I'm late to the party getting these done, but oh my god, they're so fun. It's stupid and it's pet battle stuff, and I'm not about that most of the time, but it's just so sweet to go through this story, and you're helping out these little whelplings, and it is ridiculously fun. It's stupid and it's a bit of a slog because, you know, you can only get so much per day, but it really is such a nice diversion from just world ending, you know, galactic threats, right? All this wild, insane shit that we do, dimensional threats. But just to go and like, I'm going to go help this little whelpling at this daycare, and I'm going to clean it up and get some toys and put them in a toy box. It's maybe because it's a little more grounded. It's a little closer to home because it's what it's like being a parent. You got to do all this crap. So I just want to give a little shout out to Little Scales Daycare. It's such a wonderful, little diversion from the rest of the game. But that's what I got. Little Scales Daycare. Check it out. All right. I think we've done enough damage for one episode. My thanks to all of you for listening. And remember, you can always follow me and this show on Twitter at Berserker Rage and Unshackled_Fury, on Blue Sky at Berserker and Unshackled Fury, as well as on Twitch at Unshackled Fury and Real Berserker. You can also join our Discord, links for which are in the profile of the show on Twitter and on our bonus roll page. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise through any of those resources or on shackledfury.com. And you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you next time. Farewell.